we have a draft incoming. So I'll take it away from here briefly while Nymaera out there just finishing up his break, because of course it is a little bit of a short one here for the two of us. Bans coming on through, as you can see, the little bonk and the Jace away by OMG. On the other side, the Yone away from Longfong. They can't first pick it, or pick it in general this time around, as well as that Rumble, which Harry does like to go towards. They know what the assignment is here. A solid ending to game one for LNG, who ended up taking over past a certain point where the flanks weren't as dangerous as I think OMG were hoping for, and certainly not coordinated enough. And now a lot of those AD mid laners are kind of off the table, could look towards, I was about to say the Corki, but they've banned away those ones as well, so it really will be back towards likely more of those control mage options. Longfong, generally speaking, a melee assassin player, really. When he gets a chance, the Akalis, the Yasuos is what he's best known for. Debating a couple other things, and I wonder whether they want to leave Longfong with a little bit of a counter pick option. They'll lock in the Viego first pick, which I wasn't necessarily expecting. It also implies a potential look into an AP option towards the mid lane as well. Now we're towards the other side of the draft. LNG looking to see what they're going to respond with. Senna for Gala. Certainly a champion he's very comfortable on. He and Jackie Love, probably the two biggest proponents in the league still on it. They'll get the Nautilus for Hung, give him a bit more HP to work with. Especially if we can get towards the Warmogs and stuff as well. That Nautilus gets very tanky very fast in this kind of meta with that kind of setup. And over towards the other side. Now to see what OMG want to go towards, debating for Hui, and they will get a hold of that. Got themselves the ability to potentially burst people out there if they can get the resets rolling. They can get the Viego bouncing around, and debating a Skarner, of course, which is so very strong right now.
So, OMG going towards much less of the style they had last time, but still, Xiaofeng's Viego, so powerful, isn't it? It's just one of those champions which OMG used to such great success before. LNG will need to be very careful now to give over a composition which can't deal with arrows flying out of Fog of War and
Wave follow-up, Viego resets.
Well, yeah, exactly, the whole thing. If you give up that first kill, this team comp will already punish you with the 3 champions locked in. With the remainder of their draft, they need to pick stuff which can survive the first pick and then follow up on the rest of that fight.
Zucker debating the Renekton. It does feel like some of our top laners still do like to default to that as a blind pick option, especially if they want to feel like they have a little bit of power around that kind of level 7 mark for grubs and stuff. Breathe tried to carry on it the other day, couldn't quite do it from the lead he had, but still gives you that theoretical moment of bruisery power to really play around as a team. But ban Skarner on the other side, especially as it wasn't picked by OMG, trying to mitigate the options Harry has here.
And, you know, Zeka, last game, was very much sat there in the losing lane matchup thinking, look, okay, I'm just get this over with, I'll CC people in team fights later. With the Renekton, you do win lane really, really hard. You can go to stuff like the Jax and try and outscale, but we saw in the Breathe versus Ala matchup just a few days ago, the Renekton can really crush lane and present a game-winning threat from the early game. You need to be good at it. I don't trust all LPL players to do it. Zeka can be at that level, but he needs to show that he is worth picking this lane-dominant champion for to play towards. They do have the Senna as the mainly kind of leave it alone and let it do its own thing bot side. If they have this Renekton played towards by a jungler for Weiwei as last pick, maybe they can blow up in top lane.
Some options here for OMG. Where do they want to put the Ashe? In support or AD carry? Currently looking at a Braum. When you've got people like the Renekton and the Nautilus coming in, it could be pretty nice into that.
Ashe is not great versus melee supports anymore. It used to be the case where you could take barrier and just kind of shred them through. Locking in something like the Braum means you don't have that much engage, which is a bit of a problem, but it does beat the Nautilus in lane really, really hard. So I think what you're looking to, take the Ashe into the AD carry role, lock in a melee support of some kind or something that can bully out the lane really hard, and make sure that the Nautilus doesn't get nearly as much value in lane.
Some fun hovers here, but we'll wait and see before the decision is made. The hovers have cycled all the way through back to Braum. They decide to go towards it. If you can get those auto attacks off, it can feel pretty nice, and it's potentially a way of mitigating something like the Renekton and the Nautilus overdiving.
Yeah, huge. This is just there for really just countering those melees. And Weiwei, last pick, we did say, hey, what can he do with, you know, winning lanes? What can he do to snowball topside? Locks in the Kha'Zix AD assassin in the jungle, and there's not that much engage on the side of OMG to catch him out as he flits around the edge of the team fights.
If you can get towards a Dirk early, you can start to potentially attack the Viego in his jungle, potentially. We've seen a couple good Kha'Zix games recently. It does feel like a pick that has started to rise up in priority in latter drafts of the series, particularly among some of our more aggressive junglers. Wei, solid game on the Zarya. Who did end up getting MVP out of interest, by the way, for game 1?
It was Gala who walked away with the MVP. Hit that. The man on your screen. There he was. He walked away with that game 1 MVP. So, OMG, they walk away with a composition which has some strong lanes. That Braum might be able to keep that Nautilus in check, and they do have that Ash Arrow that can do an awful lot of miracle making within the current meta. But it does feel like with the Senna Nautilus, with the Renekton dominant lane and the Kha'Zix, LNG definitely have their own firepower to play back towards it. LNG, if they win, they are through into the top group of the next stage. OMG, they can't get there even with a win in this series, but they want to play spoiler. They want to deny LNG that chance and allow RA to go over the top of them, whilst also buoying their own hopes for the next stage.
RA are looking on at this game with hope in their hearts, but like game 1, it's got to be a pretty fractious hope. Looking more and more likely that they will be the team going down towards the Nirvana group, while LNG, with the luck of the draw in terms of the schedule, do get the opportunity here to get the better game score, which is what will see them tie broken ahead of RA should they win this next game. OMG here with a couple of those members from that LDL squad from last year. Of course, Starry and Longfong. Longfong, a latter addition to the team partway through 2023, and really was pretty special down there. Still is, but he's still a very raw player in terms of a competitive experience. He's got just over a year of comp experience now.
I think that question of comp experience in LPL becomes quite interesting because there are so many different players that are at different points in their careers in the LPL. Just because you have 17 teams, you've got a lot of players which have got good reputations. They're kind of kept to that over time, and it's fun to see where rookies slot into that equation, because finding a space in the LPL is not an easy thing.
No, you can see Kha'Zix on the mini-map there, looking to start on his Raptors and OMG, trying to fight their way forwards. They're both the Nautilus and the Braum strictly good at the level 1, but the difference, of course, being that Braum, generally speaking, is a pretty solid answer into the Nautilus, so level 1 strength can be a little bit mitigated.
Oh, hugely so. It's a huge card. It's the hardest countered Nautilus in the laning phase. It means that you can't play aggressively. A lot of the time, you want to start that hook level 1. You can't always do that even with the Nautilus against the Braum. Sometimes you start with the shield just to make sure you can get to the wave, auto-attack it a little bit, and get yourself to level 2 a little earlier before you have problems presented by that Braum.
Starry and PP God trying to step on forwards. PP God does land the early wing spike. Hong taken pretty low already. Big volley afterwards. And for a lane that's going to be about trying to get this Nautilus farm, not going to be so easy so far.
So you can see that Hong didn't level up anything at the level 1. He was on 0 skill points. He levels up the shield now after he's taken that damage, but that's one of the reasons why you can't sit there and just hook your way into a Braum. He eats up that trade. That's fine. This is why you go towards it, right? It shrugs off something. This is the right thing to do. It means that that Q means nothing. But that's the kind of problem with the Nautilus. You're not playing aggressive. You're playing defensive, and that's not really how Nautilus wants to play.
And especially when you've got a Kha'Zix in your jungle as well. Losing lane prow can make the Kha'Zix feel a little bit sad, because they do like to be able to play around some of those neutral camps until they can get a bit of AD to their name. Gala does land the root, but actually has to cleanse out on the other side as PP God gets to step on forwards, and the trades in bot lane going very much in OMG's favor so far.
And this is why I view Braum as not just a bit of a Nautilus counter, but just, oh wow, you can't play lane into the Braum in a lot of ways. It happens with the Leona and the Nautilus. Braum struggles as the game goes on because he doesn't have that immediate go button in the way that Nautilus and Leona does, but just runs over the early game. And it means that Gala and Hung, they are in a difficult lane. They're eating a lot of extra trades, and with you've got the Winter's Bite as well from activating the approach velocity from Starry. You can't even get away from that Ashe. Xiaofang's on the bot side to protect the crash in, and it means that Wei Wei's left trying to cross map on the top side of the map, but not really any options presented there.
Nope. Will be a known quantity because, of course, there was a ward in that Tri-Brush, so Xiaofang is on the bot lane and they have to play even safer, but the HP bars aren't looking great and there are no combat summoners. Try and turn things around. I wonder whether they might think about a dive. Hung, if he can keep his HP total high enough, should still be okay, I think.
It is so hard to dive Nautilus.
Yeah, I know.
Like, that ain't it. So, anyway, good W there from Harry. Managed to eat up the empowered W from the Renekton. Means that trade doesn't go that well. Weiwei doesn't get that much done. Gonna get spotted on top side of mid as well. What he does do is put a ward into top side jungle, knowing that the camp respawns should come up, so should be able to spot.
10, yeah.
Should be able to spot Xiaofeng on his second respawn comes and just confirm that the Viego is there, so they can plan for the next stage.
On spawn, Viego will be picking up that Gromp. Is a known quantity, just pinged out as well. Lands the hook, but PP God immediately puts up the shield. Does end up rooting his AD carry there with the last embrace. But hey, it's fine, just sharing the hug.
There was a change to Senna, I can't remember this year or last year, where the AoE of the W pop does, in fact, give you that first stack of your passive, which means you can get the passive rock after that to get the souls through. So that can occasionally come through. No, doesn't always do that much, but it's just nice little change.
Can certainly do so. Right then, Starry and PP God would like to reset at some point as well, I'm sure. Trying to get some value out of that first back. See what they decide to do with that one, as Kha'Zix is a known quantity thanks to the Hawk shot that just spotted them on their own Gromp. So, is something to keep our eyes on.
LNG. Surviving through the early laning phase. Normally the way that you predict, you kind of like judge the center lanes as you compare AD carry and support difference, and then if they're about the same, then things come through. LNG, very happy to be even enough in that one.
Senna picked up a few of the first minion waves worth of farm because the Nautilus had no way to get to it, so at least getting that gold on someone I think makes sense.
So, OMG, they're going to be seeding bot side. This is weird to me, because they had such a dominant bot side, but they're giving up the dragon on spawn. Xiaofeng is on the bot side, but OMG not really been able to get into the objectives first.
Oh boy, well, there goes that dragon down, despite what should be an early laning phase advantage. Xiaofeng is on bot side. I don't know whether they want an actual fight here, but the 3v3 a possibility, fighting over the control ward. Scout got first roam.
Resets are scary.
PP God gonna be rooted up, can put down the door, gets that damage reduction, needs to back away with a stand behind me. In comes the piercing darkness, Weiwei gets a leap and a flash! And an ult from Scout divides OMG from their health bars.
Lonfeng nowhere to be seen. The artist paints himself out of the picture as OMG lose that first important fight. They had that dominant bot side. They could have looked towards a reset on Xiaofeng, but they didn't get enough damage down early. And LNG, with their mid laner coming down, make the difference happen. They break open that pressure of the early bot lane.
That was huge. What a phenomenal shuffle from Scout, who just had first move.
He did, and you can see that there's a power with Viego getting to double stack the Braum passive really early on, but they just don't have the ults yet. You don't have the Viego for the huge level 6 reset potential on that point, and yeah, it's Scout there earlier on the roam, and for all the criticism we've had of him, he has still had some of these moments, and this is an important one.
Xiaofeng gonna try and take a grub, does have level 6, he can throw down the Harrowed Path device. So Weiwei still at level 5 here. Needs to be a little bit wary stepping on in there. I think wisely backs towards his own jungle as Zucker did roam down, but needs to go back and think about sorting out his wave state.
Early game, as it stands, because of that early gold going away from the Ash Braum, which one of the biggest things that earns you is lane dominance, I feel like this is now LNG favored. Yes, you are giving over those 3 grubs to OMG. If you give over 6, maybe we'll have the point where OMG can get themselves some tower trades later. Level 6 on Zucker.
Could be even a bit difficult. Here he goes all out, but that means he loses all his resist. He's to be very afraid of Weiwei's ability to get a kill. And Zucker just gets to dodge out of the way of the ultimate from Xiaofeng, and 2 kills go the way of LNG in top side this time.
Zucker on the early game Renekton makes use of the pick. Great early damage, great dodge away from the ultimate of Viego. That might have ended up just about killing him. So not just bot lane now that's winning. LNG win through top side as well. And not even Xiaofeng's very famed Viego from his tenure in spring not even that can win them that early game skirmish. Weiwei's going to get himself even further ahead of the curve. 2-0-1 on the Kha'Zix, getting buff steals away. LNG, they're on course now.
And the cards can go back shortly, use the gold that they've got to really level things up. So look at the replay.
So you can see that Xiaofeng's holding around here. As soon as Weiwei turns up, you have to commit to this. You can't isolate. You can see right here, Zucker doesn't manage to land, doesn't manage to get hit by that Viego ultimate. Xiaofeng gets carried away. The isolation comes out afterwards. Easy kills.
And the problem is, the moment the first person dies, the damage afterwards gets so obscene because Weiwei, already at the pickaxe at that point, just gets to Q you and you die horribly.
Yeah, need to be hoping for a bug splat. Not of the bug fixing variety, but this one Trying to remove that void creature
Raid
from the
League of
jungle.
Legends.
It's definitely like raid bug spray.
Yeah,
Wait,
but it was, I managed to combine.
Is raid a worldwide thing? I feel like that might
maybe
be.
It's only a UK brand.
I don't know. Look, either way, bug spray. Get it now. Wei, very, very strong. And Xiaofeng, despite him being such a good player, the Viego, not set up for success behind in gold. Going to be a difficult game for OMG if their jungler can't keep threat on the enemy team with the resets.
Bot lane we look. PP Garden, Starry, just trying to fight for some vision control at least. But what had been a really problematic start to the bot lane is now just fine down there.
Yeah, I mean, the Braum is meant to be that Nautilus lane counter. Hasn't been as easy as that. They lost that early skirmish. Yes, they can keep putting Hung into difficult spots with you know, the stopping him from going in. You don't really get to take the aggressive trades, but it's not like Hung has been going in like without any thought or care for it. So LNG, they completely fine. They're ahead in terms of the 2v2 gold. 400 gold to one side to the Ashe, 800 gold to Hung on the other. So very happy between the both roles of the overall 400 gold lead between the two of them. So they're winning top side, winning bot lane. Mid lane is like both of these things, both of these mages scaling up. You're really waiting now to see how OMG can blow open a skirmish. If they get a reset team fight, everything is still possible. Getting that first kill now feels very difficult. Wei has an Eclipse already, huge amount of dueling potential. He's ready to one-shot.
Yeah, none of that Umbral Glaive Malarkey. It's straight towards that duelist option. Gives him a bit more opportunity, potentially to fight with the Viego in particular before he's got that first item. Be really menacing in those small-scale skirmishes.
So OMG, they have a difficult scenario ahead of them. I feel like I say that a lot in the LPL because a lot of these early game teams do know how to leverage that one. LNG have not always been the team which can do that. They're a slower pace one, but they're off to the races. And OMG, now they're going to have to go see if they can go hell diving to squish some bugs on this one frontier. It's going to be difficult though. Wei looking less of one of those little mites and a little bit more like a Bile Titan in his own right.
Well, yeah, see whether they've got the right loadouts and the right ability to call in some assistance with the button presses, but...
Oh no! The bugs have a railgun now as well, Gala! He's got the pre-nerf railgun! It's too OP!
Yes, the Helldivers have betrayed us. They're working with the Bucks.
Starship Troopers, worst case scenario. Right, Dragon has spawned. Wei has that Q upgrade, very quick at taking down dragons. Isolated target, resets that Q partially as well. Gonna get that ward over the wall. Teleports in. We are squaring up for a dragon fight. OMG, if they get that reset, all's right and right as rain. But can they get that point?
Looking for reset is here. He's not going to be here quite yet. Zucker also has a teleport. First hook comes on through into a massive depth charge. Xiaofeng just about alive, but it means they cannot come and fight the Burrow to Hong, though. Does at least get them a kill. Dragon secured by LNG nonetheless.
Alright, so it's going to be Dragon down. That primary objective not achieved, but they do get themselves one kill on the back, showing that the Wei can do significant damage. This isn't the Wei we saw earlier in the day, which was, you know, 6,000 gold down individually. This one's even, now to slightly ahead. If Lanfeng, as the rookie mid laner coming in for OMG, can have himself a strong game, maybe that's what OMG need.
Well, Wei heads up the creek, the Malevolent Creek, to try and claim some more bugs at the top side of the map.
There are no old divers on the creek. They you die young. You do not see yourself to old age in this kind of game. And with this kind of game as well from OMG, it's difficult to see them having clean late game fights against an early gold lead from LNG. We saw how powerful Hong could be as he could go in as the tankier form of Nautilus with the Senna buffing him up as well. If he can get the big engage, OMG need to rely on the Wei to get stuff through.
That's pretty solid. That could be massive. Can try and get some damage before he gets to jump over the wall. Can get the kill. And then they'll also get 4 grubs. Big moment from OMG and a great arrow from Starry.
Okay, so, and that's going to be a kill over to Xiaofeng. Important moment because he can start getting himself to that first item as well. Asher from Starry. It's a good start for things, and they're going to stop LNG evening up the grub store. They will get themselves mites to help them in their own push forwards.
Huge, huge, huge moment there. They needed that. At least it gives them an option to play the side lanes a little bit better. But of course, I'm looking at this game, and they don't really have the best split pushing champions. The Wei, the Cassante's okay, especially if he got some grubs to his name. But I'm not looking at, hell, even something like the Azir, which can go towards that Nash's Tooth, which we chatted about to nauseating levels in spring. That Nash's Tooth was super good at attacking plates.
So LNG, they have themselves plenty to work around. Scout, one of the best Azir players within the entirety of the LPL. I haven't had to talk about him much. He was there for the bot side play, of course. That was his big entrance into the game. Hasn't really become about him just yet. It was more about what's happening with the bot lane. What's happening with now with Zucker. 1.5k almost lead in that top side.
Yep.
But we will see whether Scout, one of the best players of this champion in the LPL, can make his mark known.
So, First item's beginning to be complete, and that will be largely matched on both sides. It is a gold lead to LNG, but of course it's going to take them a minute or two to really get towards second item completions. There's not even really components in there as it stands. So if OMG want to fight, in terms of actual combat power, it's about as close as it's going to get for a little while.
Can they get themselves another Ash Arrow on target? Ash Arrow leads to that first pick. That can be the resets that they need. Harry on the flank, but currently walking into the Renekton, and there's the arrow.
Onto the Nautilus. Not the easiest target, but the damage isn't awful. Can get the Spiraling Despair afterwards. Hung died to that one the last time as well. PP got flashing away, and they do get that first kill. But it'll be the 1-for-1 as the jungler is isolated by Weiwei, who throws in the Taste of Fear to ensure the King's death.
Xiaofang can't stick around long enough to make use of the reset. He goes down before he can pick up the Disembodied Soul. But once again, the Hui zeroing out the target with that arrow. That's looking to be the game plan from OMG and LNG. They don't quite have the tankiness, even with the setter ult and everything else, onto their Nautilus to keep them alive. OMG showcasing that their game plan is still alive, even if it is difficult to work through. OMG, they force LNG off of the Herald. They have a chance to go towards it at the second turns now. LNG will start it up again.
He will do. Weiwei got to go back into the jungle, heal up off some of his own camps, and a little bit of assistance from Gala's Piercing Darkness. Begin to start this up one more time. Down about half HP. Here comes OMG. They want to fight this. Again, this might be their last moment before power gets interesting.
Herald goes over. No Ash Arrow, no Whale. It's hard to fight.
Get the Spectral Maw. That's pretty good going into the Crushing Maw afterwards. It is good. Hung gets a Spider-Man Q away to buy some safety, but the CC chain ensures the death of the Crocodile. PP God rooted up. Can't go any further, but remember, Hung potentially in danger under this turret.
They keep walking forwards. If they keep going, Hung's going to get spotted. Doesn't have the flash just yet. No hook. I think he's going.
They're going to try and get some more space, but there's nowhere more to go. Another pick. Can't land that dredge line onto Weiwei.
Closer on things. So OMG get themselves the kills even without the ultimates. That's going to be quite telling. And LNG, they might be overstaying towards this top side. Need to be a little bit careful. Gala playing brazenly.
Teleport. He's looking instead towards mid lane. Starry throwing out the arrow, trying to land it onto someone. Will not manage to do so.
OMG will have to walk away with just the couple of kills which they got. They gave over that Herald to LNG. Scout is going to use the Empowered Recall for participating in the kill of the Herald. Get himself back off into base. Weiwei has himself that Herald. If they can use that to break open mid-turret, that will change the equation of the game quite significantly. It's low enough health that one Herald charge will be able to do it. So OMG, they need to be aware that's coming through, or they might just need to think about what they can do after that step. I don't think they have real play without that Ash Arrow to stop that coming through.
Yeah, at least OMG show they've still got a little bit of bite with their bark. A couple important kills going over the way of likes of Longfong and Xiaofang. Gives them the opportunity to potentially head towards this dragon and start it up. Starry trying to hover between the lane and the dragon. Kind of start doing this.
Yeah, it's good damage onto Hung. Gala's going to take the Herald itself. That's a misclip. I think Gala's just ended misclicking.
Yeah.
Gala wastes the Herald for LNG as he backs off from Starry walking forwards. Dude, that should have bought them the mid lane turret. They should be able to maybe even answer that now. Won't be able to charge into the mid lane. Won't have that big burst of damage. OMG, while this is happening, take the dragon, teleport in from Zucker.
Scout was also chunky out that bot lane tower. They got a potentially good flank action. They can make the flank play this time around. Zucker still going to be off vision. It's got the dominance and Longfong in danger. Gets jumped on. Terry trying to make sure that his mid laner stays alive. A big chunk ensures Zucker dies. Longfong gets that one all the while. Weiwei kills off the Braum. It's a 1-for-1 right now, but Hung's health bar so low. Gonna get some healing back with that honey fruit, and the dragon now being started by LNG.
Xiaofang hit by the W midway through. That leads to the hook.
Lands onto Weiwei. Both junglers in danger. Xiaofang alive. Weiwei gets all out, and Xiaofang stays alive. Scout cannot get the kill with the Emperor's Divide. Longfong trying to find space to back away to safety as Harry looks for a Q3. Can't find it. Gala about to turn on up and try and get a Q here. Xiaofang gets the reset. Steals the Nautilus. Can begin to do a bit more work. Cannot get Gala. The Severing Bolt not quite on target as Gala has enough range. They have an idea. Is that Crushing Maw just short?
Longfong can't make it out, and Scout on the Azir makes the difference again. This man has done so much work on this champion. He's been under a lot of criticism for not matching his 2023 self, and he has had a difficult summer, but it hasn't been without good performances. He had some fantastic games versus top esports, and here versus OMG in game 2, he makes a fantastic team fight out of this in the dragon fight. He does get denied entrance into this early part of the fight. He can't quite combo up with Zucker as he goes a little too far, but he does manage to clean up towards the end of this. OMG very, very close to getting their resets, but just couldn't quite manage it. This is the key moment. Gala somehow manages to catch the Viego midway through his last bit of his reset backwards. And that ends up putting him out of that fight. If he's higher HP, you can't have to imagine that OMG could have walked away with the second fight.
Great flash from Gala as well. Both Harry's Q3 hits him into dead center as well, and that might have changed the end of the fight because Xiaofeng actually does get a hold of Hung here, and you're thinking with a 2v2 there with the reset again. It's all back. The arrow lands. It's going to be a lot of damage. The turnaround on the Zuko shooter's got the Star X gauge. It's not going to keep him alive. He goes down. Reset for Xiaofeng. Scout hit with a spiraling despair into a severing bolt. Brings him down to about half HP and will burn to a third.
OMG, this is the composition they found success with in spring. The Viego reset comp, kill the first target. Macro be damned. If you hit the first target, you get a reset, anything can happen. It's one of the unique win conditions which Viego can really give you in the current meta. LNG, they've had a decent early game. They have themselves that sole point. They have managed to outlast some of the laning potential of OMG, particularly through that Braum, which could have caused even more issues towards the bot side of the map. But they're not quite able to shut this game out to bed. They're ahead in gold, but they are not out over the horizon yet.
Okay, we take a moment to breathe here because we saw the fight, but obviously before that the dragon was secured by LNG. So yes, they lose an additional member. LNG still in a good position here, and actually they are up a fairly large chunk of gold for all the fights have felt relatively even. A lot of that's off turrets, and they've also got the fact that they have the Dragon Soul to play around in about 3.5 minutes.
So LNG, what's the plan? Scout in a side lane with Nash's Tooth Azir. That is a tale as old as that strategy has existed, which is a long time. Not quite as long as and things before that, but still, Scout death cap in that Nash's Tooth. Couldn't get into the backline this time, couldn't quite do the damage he wanted to. I feel like the Hui ultimates have done a really, really good job of stopping him from getting through. We've hit a lot of milestones today, folks.
Oh,
Scout,
yes.
3,000 LPL career kills, only behind Xiaohu and Rookie, two other masters, maestros of their role within the LPL.
Scout now has more kills than Jackie Love and Uzi.
That is so insane to me. This guy, Scout has been such an impressive player to watch for so long. Ever since he came onto EDG in, 2016 when he came over to the LPL, he has been a real banner bearer for the region. He has done undefeated splits. He has won a world championship. He has done so many titles with that roster. He comes over to LNG. Last year, he was such a powerful player. He's not had the split he would have wanted, the year he would have wanted in 2023, but every so often he has games like this, or like the Jace game he had versus Top Esports, and he shows us exactly what he can do. We just want to see it more consistently. With 3,000 kills and a series which looks like should put them into the Ascension group, hopefully we get to see Scout versus some of the top tier opposition to see if he can really swing with the punches again.
We've seen a couple games now in two different series with two different sets of mid lane. This is the arrow flashed away from a mid lane. Harry face checks Wei, who doesn't really do all that much actually to a K'Sante, so just gets to look scary for a moment, but it's only a jump scare and not any actual life threat. What I was about to say is it feels like we've seen the Hui versus Zir matchup, and yes, the side of the matchup that was played by the nominally better player has come out on top, but the fact we have seen both times today the significant individual leads for the Azir, particularly once side laning becomes a thing, is proving problematic.
And that's the big thing. It's much easier to play on side lane as Azir. You have that shuffle backwards which can get you to safety. And you've got your own tower as well to put up behind you, even if you've lost that kind of thing. So Lanfang on this way, much like we saw from Vikla earlier, falling to her to a individual deficit. They are still Hui. If they get that ultimate onto the rooted target from the, or the stun target or whatever from either Viego or Ashe, it's still going to be a powerful win condition. That ultimate, the Spiraling Despair, can be so important for the extra damage to come through, but they are very, very far behind.
Despite being 1 and 3, the Renekton is also 1,500 gold ahead, but that's again just off a lot of those turrets. Still 0 turrets secured by OMG, who are really struggling.
So, resets for OMG. Can they manage them yet again? LNG, they've opened up the map. A significant gold lead. A lot of that is on Scout. They managed to zone out Scout from these team fights a little before. But can they do that consistently? All it takes is one team fight from Scout to mess up, and maybe now OMG can go towards the Baron itself. If Scout dies, of course, they get the Scout's body as well on top of that from Viego. The next big fight gets the Baron most likely. Dragon's up to it, Soul for LNG. They have both mega objectives to go towards.
Try and get value from this, and OMG are in a bit of a position where they're caught between a rock and a barren place, because They really need to fight for this soul, but at the same time, LNG can choose to give this up and just trade for the Baron.
Wait. Good early game. Struggled to get himself isolated targets in important moments now as well. He's trying to get himself on the side of this fight. He has the W for poke. That upgrade can help. Can they stop the recall here? They can. Harry stops it himself. Now he might be in a little bit of danger. No, he is not. Gets out. Dragon spawning in 10 seconds. OMG forced out of River.
Avoid spikes just shy. They're, of course, upgraded courtesy of that evolution at level 11. It's often the regular choice for the Kha'Zix. A lot more team fight presence with it.
Let's watch for that Ash Arrow. Even if it lands onto the Nautilus, that can potentially look for that first reset. Here it goes. Does land onto Nautilus.
They're going to try and get the damage immediately down onto that Nautilus. Dragon started, but not going to be salved. And that will be Xiaofeng with the body of the Nautilus to work with. Can look for the Dread. Scout! That's huge. Gets to go golden briefly. Tries to bice aside. Zuko to the back. Let's take a life. Oh, it's healing. Still dies to Spiraling Despair. The shuffle's good, but Scout needs to flash away. Burns down. Taken out by Harry. They're going to keep chasing. Gala has to flash away, but they get Scout.
And Scout, in such a position to win the game, completely messes up his shuffle. The shuffle was awful from the Azir. Doesn't get the targets he needs to and dies as well. Gets hit by the hook, and the game might have just gone with it. The first kill comp from OMG comes to life.
They get Scout, they get the Dragon, and now they get the Baron too. Huge moment. Weiwei still alive. And maybe, just maybe, they can look for players. Remember, there's no teleport on Scout, even if he spawns in 15 seconds. Weiwei has to leap
and with
away.
his E down, he won't be able to jump into the pit. He needs to get himself a bit of a delaying here. He doesn't have it back in. He's not going to go for the steal at all right now. It's going down. They're teleporting into the pit.
What about the retreat from OMG? They're going to have to try and get on out of here. They might just sacrifice PP God and say, it's been great, nice knowing you. Sacrifice your life for the Baron on the rest of our team.
LNG, they were in a position to win through macro. They had themselves such a good gold lead, throwing over the Baron, throwing over the Dragon as well, which can't be claimed for the soul. It means they are delayed in their winning ways. Great arrow into the CC combo again. Braum, passive, Braum, ultimate, everything comes through, and then Xiaofeng gets to go through as a full health Senna, farming Nautilus. Soul gets the hook. Yes, it ends up getting that. It's not the instant kill, but look at Scout here. His shuffle is completely messed up. He gets one person, he gets the Braum. We thought it was good in the heat of the moment, but it was absolutely awful. Only hits the tank front line. Scout messes up the play.
Looked like he had the perfect angle, and unfortunately for him, it just doesn't work out. And now, Soul's denied. Gold lead is pretty much back to even at this point in the game. 1,500 gold difference at 26 minutes means very little, all things said and done.
And this is where the questions come in about Scout. Scout, he's had a good early game, great gold built up to his name, the macro and side lanes worked out, but when it came down to this team fight here, much like the Yone and the last one, he's flubbing some of these bigger mechanical moments. He had a game like that on LeBlanc versus Top Esports 2. He has enough room to redeem himself. He has the Zhonya's as well if he wants to look for that next big play with the next stasis as well. But that play was so important, and the fact that he fails it in the moment puts LNG into the dirt.
Also looking at the likes of Hung on this Nautilus that was the early pick with the Senna, 0, 5, and 6, has really struggled to get value in these team fights. Instead, has just been a body to donate over to Xiaofeng's Viego. The arrow goes wide. Zuka, though, with the Starek still not up to stay alive. And that's another kill going on over. Harry in danger on the other side as Scout tries to get a bit of an all-out. Comes up through into the Severing Bolt. Secures a kill onto Gala. The body stolen by Xiaofeng.
They get Gala. Oh. Gala gets caught out somehow, some way at OMG off of one dragon fight after multiple arrows from Starry. Turn the game around. They're going to go in with a Baron buff and what, a 5v3 as it stands at LNG. They're going to lose at least an inhib.
They lose potentially a bit more. They had so much standing gold. Remember, before that dragon fight, they had 0 turrets. This gold lead is about to balloon in favor of OMG.
You can see right now, Gala coming up, Scout back on wave clearing duty. They don't have Zucker, they don't have part of that front line. The Renekton already hard to play in the late game. It doesn't get any easier from here. LNG from far ahead of the game and now, what, 3k down just about to OMG, who are fighting not for themselves, they are fighting for Rare Atom. If LNG lose this series, Rare Atom go up as top 2 over LNG into that Ascension group, and LNG would have to fight in the Nirvana stage for a team with such high expectations coming in from 2023, despite a terrible spring for them. What a fall from grace that would be yet again. Zucker walks up, he face checks into an unwarded brush, and he's a late game Renekton. This Renekton is not tanky. Yes, Starry ends up missing the arrow here, but it forces the dodge away from him into his own doom. What is happening? Gala's positioning is utterly not what you need from this bot side. Gets zeroed out by that Cassante and drags Cassante to safety by giving him an ult option.
And if they've managed to kill off Harry and go 1-for-1 in top laners, I can understand the thought process, but it's just not a good enough angle, and they certainly don't kill Akasante fast enough to make it the correct choice. And now Dragon spawning in a minute, and again, LNG aren't out of this, but it's been a bad sequence of plays from them. There's still 3.5 items on this Azir, that's 120 souls on Senna.
That's the whole thing, right? You still have the Senna who's decently powerful. You still have Scout who is very powerful. If Scout can get into a pocket to do damage, anything can still happen. OMG, they have the easier comp to execute now. Arrow, first kill, death. It's going to be the easier way to play through that. I almost wonder if Gala has to be tanking the arrow now, because at least he has the cleanse. Hung, he's going to die so quickly, especially with the 3 items from Longpong. It's a difficult conversation to think about how you approach these fights. OMG, they have the team which really feels like it's come online now.
Nice step on forwards, the arrow lands, that's onto Weiwei, into the clear shot Fisher, but go splat! The raid can comes on through the spiraling despair onto Scout, who's got nowhere to go! The stolen Kha'Zix's body tastes the fear of his teammate.
LNG are just stood aimlessly in mid lane, and the aim is true on the other side from the starry Knight 80 carry from OMG. They might just be able to run this down into a full game win. There's a teleport from Zucker, but he can't do anything from here.
It's a desperate angle in the 3 versus 5. There's another death. Hung again. Hung out to dry. Gala flashes away. But there ain't anything to celebrate here. This Senna will be watching her own soul join the Black Mist.
So there is no way from mid lane, but there are 2 inhibs down. Even though Zucker teleports to kill the wave, the super minions are here. LNG 2v5. Weiwei coming up.
Weiwei's up, but Scout's still 10 seconds away. It's a decent Dawning Shadow. Bites his face. Nexus exposed. But there will be no more shenanigans at Nexus this week. OMG win game 2.
1-1 in the series, and OMG keep it alive. They don't have to win for themselves. They're only looking to win to give a bit of a spoiler to LNG, to give RA waiting for this result a bit of hope. If OMG win this series, Rare Outer would leapfrog LNG for the 2nd seed of this group to go through into the upper group. And folks,